I've been wanting to do a review of this shoe for a while now, and of course, I'm talking about the Altra Solstice. Even before I got my Escalantes, I had my eye on the Solstice. When I saw that the specs had exactly what I was looking for, I knew I had to try them. But because of all the great things I heard about the Escalantes, I decided to try them out first. And I love them. They are fantastic shoes, and they are my current main DDR shoes. Be sure to check out my review of the Escalantes. Link is somewhere up there. So that Altra had just set a great first impression for me. So then a few months later, I decided to try out the Solstice. And I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised. They turned out to feel and perform exactly as I expected, which is great because that meant there were no disappointments. While we're at it, let's take a quick dive into what the Solstice has got. As you may or may not know, Altra specializes in all sorts of running footwear, and every Altra shoe is both zero drop and has their foot-shaped toe box. Two absolutely great features. However, it seems like Altra has been moving away from the zero drop term, and they're now calling it balanced cushioning. It might be to avoid confusion with having to ask what exactly does zero drop mean and having to explain it. All it means is that the cushioning from the heel to the toe are exactly the same height. Most shoes have a higher height difference at the heel versus the toe. And personally, after wearing zero drop shoes for a while, they just feel so much better for me. Completely natural feeling. My balance feels like it's gotten better. I rarely feel knee pain anymore. It's just wonderful. And at 6.9 ounces, they're super lightweight. The midsole is made of high abrasion EVA, and unlike the Escalante, which has its Ultra Ego midsole, the outsole here is made of completely exposed EVA, just like its midsole. Depending on how you look at it, it could be a good or a bad thing. Being just EVA, the outsole feels pretty solid, somewhat responsive, not very cushiony, doesn't give back much energy for each step. The outsole doesn't have any weird shapes or protrusions that could possibly get in the way of moving across the panels. Step feedback has been decent. They kind of give off a more of a thud sound on impact, not much of a bounce to them. The sole grip, from my experience, has been somewhere between neutral and slippery, somewhat easy to slide in. They rarely ever get too grippy, so I never have to use anything like baby powder. Not that I do anyway, but they're still grippy enough to feel like I'm not flailing around ice skating. Overall, this has been a solid pick. I have achieved a lot of great scores in them, and I'm really glad that I got to try these out and made them my main for a while. But now, let's hit the upgrade button. Here comes the latest revision of the Solstice. The Solstice XT. Just got these off of Altra's website directly, and what better day than Christmas to finally unbox this. It's been a while since I've had this sitting around, so I'm really excited to finally get to open this. So let's check this out. Ooh. Check it out. Oh. Oh. So we got the foot-shaped toe box and the balanced cushioning I was talking about earlier. Embrace the space. Yeah, foot-shaped toe box. This here's the Solstice XT. I got a size 9 US. Got it in black. Let's open this bad boy up. Oh. Ooh, check this out. Whoa. The right foot here. Still got the Interflex sole, just like the original Solstice. Foot-shaped logo. Solstice XT. It's got some infographics in here telling me about the foot shape and the balance cushioning, something about running, but that's not really too relevant for me. You can already see that there's some differences between the original Solstice and the XT. It's like they completely redesigned this thing. First thing I notice is this new rubber cage on the upper. It's an interesting choice. That's definitely not present in the original. The rest of the upper is just the standard mesh. Let's feel the inside here. Ooh, that is much softer inside. Bet that's gonna be a more comfortable fit. I also noticed that they actually gave this thing an actual rubber outsole. It's not just exposed EVA like the original Solstice. You can actually feel the difference here. Well, I can feel the difference. You can probably see the difference here. There's I mean, other than this being worn down, it's there's not a lot of give in this outsole here, but if you run your fingers across the sole, you can definitely tell it's made of actual rubber. I think this feels a little heavier. It's a little hard to tell. I think this might feel heavier because of the cage design that they added to the upper, and of course the rubber outsole. The product spec does say that they're 8.4 ounces. That's over a full ounce heavier than the original Solstice. Not exactly sure why they decided to go heavier on the next iteration. Well, I guess it's time to try these on and see how they fit. Alright, we're gonna try these on. Gotta say, design looks pretty slick compared to the originals. Not sure how I feel about the cage on the upper yet, but let's try it on and see how that goes. There's some stiffness on the back where the it's like a plate on the back heel where the logo is. It's pretty rough. You can see that's not present in the original. Nothing here, but there's like rubber plate here and one on the other side as well. Yeah, right there's another rubber plate. That might not be a big deal. Trying this on. It's pretty snug. I haven't even tied it yet. Work with a single knot for now. When I put my heel in, it feels like I might break something because of the plates. Not these. Let's check them out. How they look. Logo back here. Logo, cage does not seem to be intrusive at all. So far, very nice. Thank goodness, no squeaking. Well, there's a little squeak there, but very minor. These are brand new. So yeah, as far as comfort goes, these are pretty excellent. Fits exactly how it should. To let my little room here to let my foot expand. Yeah, so far just from the fit, they feel pretty amazing. Now all that's left is putting them to the test. So next time I'm going to be playing, I'm going to give these shoes a full session. Alright, just about to play my first full sessions in the Solstice XT, so let's fire up the cab and see how well they do. Alright, I just finished up my first full session with the Altra Solstice XT, and I do have a few things to say about this particular shoe. First off, let's go over the first main point. That's going to be the fit and comfort. When I put this on at first, it felt pretty comfortable. It was nice and snug. The lacing was pretty good. It gave me enough length to double knot this thing without coming loose. No problems at all with that. However, after about an hour or so into my session, I started feeling some pain around the front of my foot, and it's due to this lacing at the edge of the cage here. This particular part of the shoe, the stitching is on the inside, and my foot will start rubbing along against that part of the stitching and kind of digs into my foot and starts causing me some pain, discomfort, and becomes very distracting while I'm playing. And it was happening to both feet too. Both shoes obviously have the same stitching along the cage, and unfortunately that's going to be a huge literal pain point for me about this shoe. Huge downside. And the second thing we're going to go into is the weight of the shoe and the movement. With the original Solstice being at 6.9 ounces and the XT being around 8.4 or so ounces, this shoe on paper is going to be heavier, and honestly I didn't really notice too much of a weight difference while I was playing. I was able to time pretty well. I didn't really struggle with any of the faster charts. I did have to adjust my playstyle a little bit to be able to do certain patterns, but other than that, I didn't really have much of an issue with the weight and movement. Third thing is the step sound and the impact. I can say for sure that timing with the XT is going to feel fantastic, or marvelous, depending on which game you play. And the impact wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. The rubber outsole definitely helped with the impact. Versus the original Solstice, it didn't really have any give to the outsole, so there's not going to be much of an energy return with the original Solstice outsole. But with this outsole, it feels like there's some cushioning in there, so you're going to get a little bit of energy return. Comparing the impact of the XT versus the original Solstice, the XT is going to feel a little bit better than the original Solstice. And the last thing to go over is the grip and traction of the shoe. As I've said before, with the original Solstice, the grip and the traction of the outsole, especially when it's worn down after playing for a while in them, it's somewhere between neutral and slippery. You're not gonna need powder or any substance to make these more slippery, I guess. The grip on the XTs, especially with the all rubber outsole, it's gonna be a lot grippier than the original Solstice. I felt it especially with faster patterns. I definitely had to pick my feet up a lot more. It might get better over time with more use, but out of the box, it's very grippy. If you're going for straight up timing like Fantastic Attack, Marvelous Attack, the grip on this is pretty much perfect. For stamina and foot speed, however, you might need powder or whatever substance you use, furniture polish or whatever. So with all that in consideration, what shoe would I recommend? Original Solstice or the Solstice XT? And personally, I believe the better value would be going with the original Solstice. Don't get me wrong, the XT is a pretty solid shoe. It's just really unfortunate that I don't know if it's the design of the shoe, that stitching that causes that discomfort is a huge disadvantage, huge turnoff for me. I never got that same problem with the original Solstice. And with the original Solstice being the older model, you're gonna find a lot better deals going with this than the XT. But would I still recommend going with the XT? That all depends. If you want to consider getting the XTs, you're gonna have to find a retailer that has this on location and you get to try it on yourself. Or if you get it from an online store that has a good try before you buy it sort of policy, then I would say try it on first. See if you get the same problem, because everyone's foot is different. Mine just so happened to feel a lot of pain with this sort of design. The Solstice XT retails on Altra's website for $110. You can also get the original Solstice on Altra's website for around $60. You might be able to find this with other resellers and get some better deals or discounts that way. For colors, the Altra website has the XTs in navy blue, black, and white. And that about does it for my comparison review and unboxing. If you enjoyed this video or perhaps found it useful, please give this video a like, and of course please subscribe if you want to see any more of this kind of content. And if you have any questions or comments or anything, please leave them below. I also put links to buy the Altra Solstice and the Solstice XT in the description below. And of course, I'll see you all next time.